Hello, hello, hello. Today's Easter. That means a lot to a lot of people. So happy Easter if you celebrate it. If not, have a great day. It's just a day, right? I'll actually be working, so it is what it is. I just want to remind everybody, though, a lot of us feel like we're just like at a breaking point, that life can be tough, right? And we all want that cheerleader. Shoot, I know I wish I was a football team right now. Go, Sheena, go. Go, Sheena, go. And I have to tell myself every day, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Because it's life. We're here to live it, experience it in every aspect, the highs, the lows, the excitement, the exhaustion, the successes, the non-successes. We're here to learn what we can bring to the table. We're also here to learn when we need to say, okay, I don't want that at my table. And that's the hard part for a lot of us being assertive, has been for me for a long time, because I was definitely the people pleaser, the one that I don't want to see people sad. I don't want to see anybody struggling or in pain or, just the downside of life, because when you feel that way yourself, you don't want to feel that way. So why would you want others to feel that way? And it gets to a point where at some point we got to let people feel that way. Somebody asked me the other day, it was on one of my videos I made about why would you return to sender? Why don't you just like leave it alone or send it back in love and light? And I had to think about why I started doing that, because used to I would not. I was like, I'm gonna leave it to karma. I'm not going to return to sender, because to me that was me getting my hands dirty. But like I explained to them, there comes a time when you have to realize who you're loving on. And when you're loving on those that have wicked ways, you're almost condoning those ways for them. So you're like, oh, no harm, no foul, when it really is harm and foul, right? So I had to start saying return to sender to almost like let them learn the lesson. It's like a kid breaking something purposely. And then you're going, oh, that was a good job. It's so good that you broke that. I'm so proud of you. And you instill in them that it's good to go around and be destructive, right? Rather than, no, we don't do that. That's not good. Now you've broken something that was useful. That's a waste of money. You've made trash. You've been mindless, let's say. So when we go through life with people that hurt and we keep patting them on the back, let's say, for choosing to keep hurting others, then they continue to do it because there's no lesson. So we have to ourselves go, but if I let you keep doing it, then you teach your children to do it. It's a breeding ground for chaos and destruction and anxiety and depression for everybody. That's the hard part. When we sit back and we watch and we're like, it's not affecting me. I knew people that used to say that. They didn't stand up for me when I was in an abusive relationship because they were like, it's not really affecting me. So if it's not affecting me, then why should I step in? That's like walking up to somebody that's being held at gunpoint and you can protect them, and then you're like, they're not messing with me, so I don't really care. That's heartless. When we only look out for ourselves and we're not learning to say this is what matters, the whole is what matters, because once again, Bob Marley says it the best, what goes around comes around. You're going to, at some point, entertain what you ignored. You can try to ignore it all day long, but I've said this multiple times. We are all tied to one another. You can look at the string theory and see that everything is connected. Or it's just like everybody in the world because of 5 people. You know 5 people who know other people, and then if you were to network through that, you would actually be able to meet, let's say, the president. You would know that you know everybody. But the thing is, we don't talk about everybody that we know, right? So it comes down to, we have to get back in the mindset that this is a whole. This is a unit. This is us affecting each other. And every time that we entertain somebody that's negative and low vibration, we have to remember we too were once there. So yes, we can look at them sympathetically. We can pray for them. We can hope that they get the guidance that they need, that they can forgive themselves, because somebody that's in pain, somebody that's hurting other people, is because they themselves are hurting. I know for the longest time, I couldn't forgive myself for quite a few things. And I, instead of forgiving myself, made it a priority to say, I'm going to help the person that I can't forgive myself for being. Does that make sense? That inadvertently I was holding on to myself in a moment that I won't say that I was ashamed for being that drug addict or that promiscuous person or the person that really didn't want to settle for the one person I was with. I wasn't a cheater, but I wasn't invested. My heart wasn't always in it. And it was better than being alone. And those are hurtful actions, because when you are on drugs, you say things to other people that you don't consider or even remember how you treated them, what you said, how you made them feel, or it's just being mindless in a way because it's sedating ourselves. And when we sedate ourselves, it's hard to comprehend how that's affecting even us. We have to be able to stand up and go, okay, there's a better way of living this life, and maybe openly speaking about it will help me more than it will hinder me, because I didn't want to go through that pain. I didn't want to ask myself why I was making the choices I was making. I didn't consider my life at that time of it was me not fitting in society and understanding I didn't fit in for a reason. Instead, I was like, I'm going to fit in any way possible. And I found the one crowd that would accept anything. The things I did when I was with that crowd, like I said, it's taken me a long time to forgive myself for those things. There's still things I don't talk about that once you get to know me very personally, you're like, damn, I would not have thought that was you. But it took a long time to get away from that personality that I had. It doesn't mean that I healed that aspect within me. And that's the hard part, because now I'm having to look at me from every angle. And it's like being in that fun house that has all the mirrors. I've used this example before, but it's like, that was me. Oh my God, that's me. And just spinning and turning and everything is me. But that can't be me. And then the people I've been meeting lately, it's funny because they are expressing the energy that's within my body. The chaos, the frustrations, my schedule keeps being flip-flop now. And everyone's exhausted and walking around yawning and just like, they don't even know why they're there. They're just there, possibly to remind me of, you're here. It's one of those things, when you start paying attention, you start seeing yourself in everybody. When you see yourself in everybody, you can no longer hold a grudge. You can no longer go, you need to go away. I have a friend that's going through something right now. And after listening to him, I almost thought my empathy was dead. Like, I basically told him, suck it up, buttercup. I've been through worse. And not in those words, but yeah, I can understand where you're coming from. And I was so tired and just burnt out because, you get to a point you don't want to hear people complain anymore. It was so noisy for the last 2 days, and I thought these were supposed to be these holidays like Christmas, where there's a meaning behind it. But everyone's getting so annoyed because they're spending so much money on these holidays and they're forgetting the whole concept that it's about family. It's about unity. It's about spending time together. It's about looking at what the day was, reflecting. It's about understanding what was given for you to be where you're at. But to me, it's also a moment of misunderstanding that, oh, I was forgiven in my sins, so now I can continue to sin. But who are we to decide what's a sin, right? Everyone has a different concept of what's okay. And that's not saying that everything is acceptable. I woke up this morning and I was thinking about Cain and Abel, the original murder, the original moment where jealousy sparked a new way of life. And it was lies and deception. This, of course, is the tale that we're told, right? But how it still goes back to the star-bellied Sneetches and the plain-bellied Sneetches. One was given a gift. One was going to get the empire of his father, and the other felt he got nothing. Because now his brother, his elder, was going to become his father. And he didn't want to be controlled. That's what I gather from it. None of us want to be controlled. We all feel we can make better choices for ourselves. But once again, when I was in a different state of being, that drug addict or that alcoholic that just, woohoo, let's go do something crazy, the irresponsible party, I still wanted to control my own life, knowing at that moment I had no control. I chose to completely let loose and let go and say that, whatever happens, I'll probably forget it tomorrow anyways. I used to drink so heavily that I would black out and couldn't remember certain things. And then as snippets would come through the day, I'd be like, did anybody see that? Did I really do that? Why would I do that? I mean, I used to get so lost. And honestly, at that time, I don't even know what it was. I don't know what I was wanting to hold back from. And honestly, I think it was myself. The fact that I didn't fit in, the fact that my friends would make plans and then cancel, and I was the nerd. I knew everybody, but I had no friends. I've always been the loner. I've always been the person that people want to be around when they feel bad. And when my life's bad, ooh, they love me. When my life's good, they're like, she thinks she's all that. They start judging me and getting hostile towards me. And I've learned that that is their discomfort with their own self. I've learned to be okay with that. I'm at a point now where I'm trying to learn to quiet the chaos. I get sensory overload. A lot of us do, and I don't think people realize that's what's going on even with themselves. If you get to a point where you go in a place and it's too loud and you're like, you get anxiety, you start sweating. I have a friend, he sweats all the time. He's like, I just, don't laugh at me. And I'm like, I'm not laughing at you. I was there before. I used to sweat from here to my waist. And it was that anxiety, that turmoil of life. Too much on my plate, wanting to please everybody, never looking at myself, never giving myself the love I needed. I was reminded today, we have to love ourselves. And this isn't something I have forgotten. It's something I thought I was doing. And then I'm like, maybe I don't. I help other people laugh and I forgive them for the things they do to me. But I don't necessarily do it for myself, is what I'm starting to see. The more that I haven't forgiven myself, the more I have a restless spirit. Because all my spirit is saying, and it's probably the same as yours, is let it go. You can't change it. Dwelling on it is not going to fix it. All you can do is alter the next steps that you continue to take in life. This is hard for a lot of us because change is hard. especially when you're trying to change habits, mindsets, diets, things that could be more beneficial for your body, your mind, your spirit, and your soul. It's hard, especially in the world that we live in, because, oh, isn't pizza so good? French fries are so good. It's fun to have those drinks. It's fun to go out with friends and party. It's fun to neglect thinking about anything. Because a lot of us, when we think, we're thinking about failed relationships. We're thinking about that job that's overwhelming. We're thinking about the money we don't have. We're thinking about the car that we want that we can't afford. We're thinking about the bills that are coming up. Correct? We are all in a mindset of like, everything's going out and not enough is coming in. The other day I was like, oh my God, I need more time. I don't have enough time. And it got to a point where I had to be like, it is what it is. I found myself last night in the kitchen at I don't even know what time. Got home a little bit earlier than normal, knowing that my day-to-day is going to be a little bit longer, still needing to cut meat up to make my son jerky. And I'm in there late at night cutting the meat up so I can prepare to marinate it on my day off to dehydrate it to make him jerky. And it's like time, time, time. And this concept of time is suffocating, especially when, like I said, there's more going out than coming in. A lot of us go through that. Even when you're sitting and you're just watching TV trying to decompress, your mind is not necessarily focused on the show. You can find the reality of the show within your life, and then your brain starts going again. The hamster gets on the wheel, and you're like, oh, I don't want to watch that show now. I don't like that. I wish I could be like that. I wish I could do that. We start cutting ourselves down, cutting ourselves short, and then adding to the stress of where we're at in our life, and it's not necessarily easy, but it is the concept of where we're at in our life. Hi, Purdy. You can get up there. Go ahead. So we have to remember that we have to be more forgiving. We have to be more loving to ourselves. Because in the end, like I said, a lot of people aren't going to be the ones to reach out and give it to you. But the more that you do it for yourself, the more you're going to attract that for yourself. And it's funny, I can see when I'm attracting out of a low vibration, because the noise that gets around me, I'm like, I hate my life. But when I'm in a higher vibration and feeling good, it's like, hey, hi, dancing through life. There's more than enough time. Everyone's laughing. It's like being on a yacht and everyone is happy. The other times it's like being on the Titanic. Everything is going down. So if you want to start understanding where you're at on a vibrational level, where you're manifesting from, because we all manifest. All it is thoughts. I want, I wish, if I could have. We've done it since we were children. And I was like, man, I never got that pony. I never got what I wanted as a kid. It doesn't mean that manifestation happens like that. It's just a mindset. It's a seed that you plant, and it's a harvest you will reap at some point in your life. But with that, there's still work that has to be put forth into that. You can change your whole entire world just by changing the way that you think. And this is something I'm having to keep reminding myself. And I know I've pulled back a lot from making videos because I have felt so drained that anything I had to say, I even heard myself complaining the other day. That was like the soda bottle had been shooken up too much. And the volcano just came out, and it was like, okay, I need to sit down and take a breather. If I'm not bringing something positive to the table, I don't want to visit. I was taught if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But at the same time, sometimes we have to speak up, and it's not nice. The truth hurts. That's one of the most painful things in our lives, especially when we're used to the illusion of the reality that we're in. But only we can change things for the better. So I'm not saying give up. Maybe pull back. Take a break. Don't answer the phone that day. Don't go out knowing that you're already tired. Don't sit down and say, I'm just going to keep living this way because it works for me. It doesn't really matter how I feel. The concept is because in the end, you can wear yourself down. I am the one that's preaching this right now because I keep doing it to myself. Highs and lows, highs and lows. It's like the capacitor that's just like, we're gonna fly, but we're not going anywhere. That will burn a motor up. You have to learn to pull back. Probably speaking to myself, as I usually am, but I'm having to learn. So I'm just here to remind you, if you're doing it, you're not failing. You're doing a great job. Pull back so you can re-energize and then go back out into the world wearing that same smile that you love to see on other people's faces. Because sometimes all it takes is a smile to make someone else smile. But we get so wrapped up in our own little worlds that we forget. But just remember, if all you do today is smile, you had a great accomplishment. That was a thumbs up that turned into left or right, left or right. Doesn't really matter which way you go. I was always saying to myself as a kid, right is always right. You'll at least come back around to your starting point. But now I'm just rambling. So happy Easter, peace, love, and light.